Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday morning to you. Hope you had a fantastic Memorial Day weekend. By the way, when I was just a kid, we used to call it that Decoration Day. We'd go to the cemeteries and we would place flowers, on on the graves of those who had passed before. For the younger folks, you may not remember that term, Decoration Day. But anyway, hope you had a fantastic Memorial Day weekend. It rained most of the weekend, and you've never seen such an exodus of boats in all of your life. Truck after truck, pulling boat, pulling boat, pulling boat, because, like I said, it rained the majority of the weekend. But anyway, like I said, hope you had a fantastic weekend nonetheless. Hope you're safe. Hope you're healthy. Pardon me. We are continuing now our discussion of Matthew chapter 24 and verse 35, where Jesus said, "Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall never pass away." Now, futurists are just absolutely adamant that Jesus was here predicting the destruction of literal physical heaven and earth. They completely ignore the fact that the context is the destruction of the temple. That's what Jesus has predicted in Matthew 24 and verse 2. That's what the disciples are asking about in verse 3. Of course, we're told the apostles were ignorant. We are told that they're confused. We are told that they didn't know what they were really asking about. And by the way, I have a brand new book out on Kindle entitled, "Were Jesus' Apostles Confused?" The paperback version will be out very shortly, so be looking for that, because I'll be offering a real good special price, introductory price on that. So be looking for that. Short word, the apostles were not confused. They knew exactly what they were doing when they conflated Jesus' prediction of the destruction of the temple with the end of the age and his coming. They knew what they were talking about and asking about. But I've shared with you several Old Testament prophecies about the destruction of heaven and earth and the bringing in of the new heaven and the new earth, and shown you that in every single incident of those Old Testament prophecies of the destruction of heaven and earth, it is set in the context of the destruction of Old Covenant Israel. Never a destruction of literal physical heaven and earth. And by the way, we did not look by any means at all of the Old Testament prophecies that we could have. Let's continue now with a look at some other New Testament passages that talk about, now remember the focus here, heaven and earth shall pass away, my words will never pass away. So we want to look at some other passages of Scripture, some New Testament passages that seem to be directly echoing what Jesus said in Matthew chapter 24, that posit a contrast between the passing of some heaven and earth and the remaining of that which is eternal, which is the word of Christ, the works of Christ. An amazing passage is found in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 18 and following, where the writer continues his contrast between Moses, the law, the temple, the priesthood, the cultus, the sacrifices, and the work of Christ. Notice what he says. You have not come to the mountain that may be touched, and that burned with fire and blackness and tempest and darkness, the sound of a trumpet and the voice of words, so that those who heard it begged that the word would no longer be spoken to them anymore, for they could not endure that which was spoken, commanded. And if so much as an animal touches that mountain, it shall be thrust through with an arrow. And so terrifying was the sight that even Moses said, I exceedingly fear and quake, or tremble. But you have come to Mount Zion. By the way, notice the contrast. You haven't come to a mountain that can be touched, like Sinai. Sinai could be touched. You haven't come to a mountain like that. You have come to Mount Zion. that means that the Mount Zion, to which they had come, was a mountain that could not be touched. It's spiritual. Now, I understand that they could not touch that because of the command. But it's also true that it was a mountain that could be touched. It was material. It was physical. Now they have not come to a material and physical mountain. They've come to Mount Zion. Oh my goodness. This motif of Zion is so rich. You need to go to www.fulfillradio and go into the archives where William and I examined this motif of Zion for month after month. There is not a single word that is more pregnant of meaning, messianic meaning, than the word Zion. Every eschatological motif is linked to it. Salvation, resurrection, kingdom, law, on and on. It's just incredible. So for the writer of Hebrews to tell his audience, his first century audience, you have come to Mount Zion, was to say to them that the time of the coming of the Lord was at hand. It was to say to them that the time of their salvation had arrived. It was to tell them the time of the resurrection had arrived. You have come to Mount Zion, to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, to an innumerable company of angels, to the general assembly and church of the firstborn ones who are registered in heaven, to God, the judge of all, and to the spirits of just men made perfect, to Jesus, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the blood of the sprinkling that speaks better things than that of Abel. Now watch. See that you do not refuse him that speaks. Who speaks? Jesus. See that you do not refuse him that speaks. For if they did not escape, those who refused him who spoke on earth, much more shall we not escape if we turn away from him who speaks to us from heaven, whose voice then shook the earth. But now he has promised, saying, yet once more I shake not only the earth, but heaven also. Oh, wait a minute. Here's the shaking of heaven and earth. See? Now watch this. Now this word, yet once more, signifies or indicates the removal of those things that are being shaken, so that the things which cannot be shaken, catch this, might remain. Now the things that are shaken are the things that are made. They're made by hands, like the temple made with hands. And the writer says, now this saying, yet once more, indicates the removal of those things that are being shaken as of things that are made, so that those things which cannot be shaken may remain. Things passing away, things not passing away. The things to be removed, heaven and earth. Oh, but wait. Is he talking about literal, physical heaven and earth? Or is he talking about that which was given at Mount Sinai when the mountain shook? Well, let's see. One more time. Now this, yet once more, indicates the removal of those things that are being shaken as of things that are made, so that that which cannot be shaken, that which cannot be removed, may remain. Therefore, since we are receiving, that's in the present participial form. Now, it speaks of what was taking place right then. Therefore, since we are receiving a kingdom which cannot be shaken. Now, wait a minute. Heaven and earth had to be shaken so that the unshakable might remain. They were receiving the unshakable. Therefore, the heaven and earth was being removed. Well, it's pretty obvious it wasn't literal physical heaven and earth that was being removed. It was the law given at Sinai. Oh, by the way, this is not a, quote, preterist interpretation. Scholars of note have recognized this is a contrast of covenants. It is a contrast between the Mosaic covenant and the new covenant world of Jesus. William Lane, in the Word Biblical Commentary on Hebrews, makes that point. This is not about literal physical heaven and earth. This is the removal of the old covenant so that the new covenant might remain. It's the removal of heaven and earth so that the unmovable Word of Christ, the kingdom of Christ, might remain. This is a direct echo of Matthew 24 and verse 35. Hey, listen, thank you for joining me on this morning's Morning Musings. Hey, listen, time's almost up for you to take advantage of our May 2020 4-book special. Pardon me. Go to my website, donkpreston.com, BibleProphecy.com. There's a banner, great big banner right up at the very top, listing the books that we have on special. And again, this special is for U.S. orders only. I cannot offer this for overseas or out of U.S. orders. I wish I could. I just simply cannot. But 4 books, if you order them separately, it would cost you $20 shipping all by itself. Total delivered price for U.S. orders only, $39.95. So take advantage of that while the order still stands for the month of May. We're already working on a great, great June special for you, and we'll have that announced in the very near future. But in the meantime, take advantage of that. And again, thank you for joining me for this morning's Morning Musings. We'll see you tomorrow on the flip side.